Now, I'm no tennis expert, but I think I could probably point out the Williams sisters, Kei Nishikori, and maybe Andre Agassi, but that might be about it. Now, on the other hand, though, I do enjoy my sports sims. And if you're like me, after playing quite a few of them over the years, you know that it can be very tricky for companies to get them right. Now, AO Tennis 2 is the first game in the AO, or Australian Open, series to come to the Switch. With a heavy emphasis on simulation aspects, complete with a pretty full-featured career mode, tons of customization options, and more, the devs really are going for a smash here. But how does it hold up on the Switch? Denny from the Famicast here, and today we're taking a look at AO Tennis 2 on the Nintendo Switch in this video review. Controls in AO Tennis 2 are a little complicated, but if you're a sports gaming veteran, you can probably pick it up in no time. Now, each face button corresponds to a different kind of action. So B is your standard swing, A is for top spin, Y is for a slice, and X performs a lob. Now, by pressing ZR in conjunction with these buttons, you're actually able to perform what they call more aggressive hits for more effective shots. Now, while you're doing this, you're also able to use the left stick to determine where you want the ball to go on the court. Now, of course, when facing any opponent, you're going to want to put together a good mix of these to be able to take them down. Adjusting the difficulty changes the gameplay here slightly. On easier difficulties, especially rookie mode, timing isn't super important to deliver a shot where you want. But once you start kicking it up, mistiming your shots can be problematic for your accuracy. Obviously, the better your player is statistically, there is a lower chance of hitting the ball out of bounds or somewhere that you didn't intend. Now, messing up on the timing on the harder difficulties was really frustrating for me, but I found that just simply lowering the difficulty made it feel like I had more control of the ball, and especially on scrubby rookie mode. Honestly, that difficulty setting is where I found that I was actually having the most fun with the game. Now, of course, you're free to play the game in whatever way that you want. That's totally up to you, just whatever makes it fun for you. But I will say, it seemed like the rookie mode actually made it feel a little bit more arcade-like, even though it still has pretty strong sim aspects. Motion controls also make an appearance in the Switch version of the game. Now, to be able to do this, you'll need both Joy-Con to control your player, with the left Joy-Con handling character movement and the right Joy-Con controlling your swings. Now, swinging the Joy-Con initiates swings in the game, while the face buttons, kind of similar to the standard control scheme, allow for different kinds of hits. Overall, this feels okay. The control scheme does not really give you the feel of motion tennis that you might have had with something like Wii Tennis back in the day. Honestly, it feels a little bit tacked on. I mean, I think it's great that the developers did bring this feature to the Switch version of the game, but I just found it was much easier to play with the standard controls. One cool option in AO Tennis 2 has to do with the autosave and simulation features of the game. So let's say that you don't have enough time to play through tons and tons and tons of sets. If you're just in a situation where you need to put the game down, you do have some options here. Saving mid-game and coming back later is available, as is the ability to simulate the game. Now, the simulation part can be done point by point, or even like up to simulating the entire game, so it's pretty cool that you can do that. And even if you're doing it like in the middle of a game, just simming like point by point, you can just jump back in at any time. And now the same can be said for tournaments and stuff like this too. So options like this are perfect here, especially considering that matches can be quite long if you're actually playing with the true professional rule set. There are quite a few modes on offer in AO Tennis 2. So there's the Australian Open Tournament mode, a Play Now, a Career mode, more on that in a little bit, the Academy, Online, Scenarios, Competitions, and Tutorials. Just to note, Australian Open and competitions are more or less the same. Basically, it's kind of like little tournaments that you can do. As for the online mode, I did try to play this a couple of different times, but I was never able to connect to another player. I mean, chalk that up to maybe the time difference with me being here in Japan, or just general inactivity when I was trying to play. I really have no idea. Either way, it's here, and hopefully you have more luck getting connected to someone else. Before we get into the career mode, the Academy section is definitely worth mentioning. So this is a place where you will want to go for all of the creation aspects of the game. I mean, here you can create a player, logos, venues, like as in stadiums in the surrounding area, and even scenarios. And not only this, but you can actually browse and download other user-created content. So are you looking for some kind of cool, unique logo to put on your game bag? You could find something there, even like Sonic or Uniqlo, Adidas, whatever, you could find it. How about a recreation of some famous venues like Wimbledon or something? You could find that too. Want some famous athletes that didn't make the cut in this final version of the game. You could probably find them there too, and if you can't, you can make them yourself. Now, the community behind this series has come up with a lot of great content for the game. It's awesome to see the developers encourage this kind of customization here too, and just, hey, just kudos to the community and Big Ant Studios down in Australia for just doing all this. It's really awesome. The narrative-driven career mode is one of the big new additions to the AO series here in AO Tennis 2. Now here, you take control of an existing player, or you can opt to create your own, to start at the bottom of the rankings and basically work your way up. You choose between either being a male or female, and have a whole ton of options at your disposal to create your character. Now, I mean, I took a couple of hours to create my character, and I guess he kind of looks like me. Probably not, but, whatever. Now, once you have the look and base stats configured for your character, you can start out on your journey. Now, the level of detail in this mode is pretty fantastic. The cutscenes, the press conferences, extra details like choosing your own schedule, complete with travel fatigue, the ability to even hire a nutritionist and other things like that to help your character keep a balanced diet and all this type of stuff. All of these are really, really awesome ideas. Not only that, but there's also this reputation system built into the game as well. Now, after every single play, pretty much, basically you have like three options. You can simply not react, react positively, or react negatively. Now, these all have an impact on how you're perceived by the social media in the game. It's not super deep, but it's a really nice touch and really cool addition to any kind of sports game. I'd like to see more of this out there in other games too. All of these small details do a great job at getting the player more immersed into this mode and more immersed into this game. And when starting out in career mode with a created character, like most career modes in sports games, your player is gonna be awful statistically. And this carries over into the gameplay to a certain extent as well, especially if you're playing on the higher difficulties. You'll probably find you'll have to pay attention a lot more to the timing of your hits. So kind of like I mentioned earlier, if your timing's off, the ball isn't gonna go where you want it to go. But if you don't mind playing on easier difficulties, particularly rookie mode, which is, like I said, pretty arcadey almost, you can find yourself delivering shots pretty much exactly where you want them to go. Now, the more you level up the abilities of your character, shots and reactions to the ball will be more effective. Again, I highly suggest trying out different difficulty levels to see which mode works for you. The cool thing here, and in other modes, is that you can actually change this difficulty level on the fly if you find the game getting too easy or a little bit too hard. Visually, AO Tennis 2 does a decent job at recreating the sport. Player models are pretty realistic and the stadiums have quite a few details. The crowd here is a little bit low resolution, but they look and animate realistically enough. You can also see like judges and like all this stuff there too, and they look fine. Now the animations of the players themselves look convincing here too. And when the game shows close-ups of the characters, for example during the pre-match introduction sequence, which you might have seen already in this video, you will notice that some of the textures on the in-game model shoes or bags or something like that, they look a little bit washed out and lack the amount of detail you'll find elsewhere on the character. Grass courts here also appear to be a little bit flat and lacking in texture. Now, that opening sequence in particular, I thought it was really cool in its own right, but I still couldn't help but notice these low-resolution aspects every single time that I saw it. Let me just say, too, it's not going to take you out of the experience or anything, but it's definitely something that's going to grab your attention. Now, one unfortunate thing that I came across while playing AO Tennis 2 on the Switch is that it sometimes runs a little bit choppy. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes just out of nowhere it would just happen to me. There didn't seem to be any consistent way to replicate this either. I mean, at times the game would be running pretty smooth, and then just suddenly it would just start getting a bit jittery. Now, only a small number of occasions did this actually impact the gameplay, but when it did, I did have some difficulties with the timing of my shots because of it. Now, I did run into another glitch that I just happened to actually have the capture button going when I did that. So when I was trying to play on this Wimbledon course that a user created, something was seriously wrong with the court textures. You can see it in the video here that there is this weird bright grid texture that is really, really hard on the eyes. I'm not going to keep it on there for too long, but I tried playing for a little bit on this course, but it was way too straining on my eyes, and not to mention it was difficult to see the lines on the court too. I didn't really have this happen on any other court that I played in the game, so I don't know what the heck was going on. Hopefully stuff like this can just get patched out and fixed over time. And given the reputation of Big Ant Studios, I think that they could do that. AO Tennis 2 on the Switch is a decent tennis simulation that offers a lot in terms of customization and content. Now, the presentation and attention to detail here are absolutely stellar. The career mode is full of features, and it's really a lot of fun to get into. The reputation system and reactions you can also do during the game are a lot of fun here too. But some graphical glitches, frame rate issues, and stuff like that hold it back just a little bit. It's fun to play, and I think there's an amazing foundation here with AO Tennis 2 on the Switch. It's really close to getting things right here, but falls just a little bit short of the mark. Final score for AO Tennis 2 on the Nintendo Switch, 7 out of 10. As always, thanks for checking out this video. If you like what you see, please feel free to give us a like. If you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. We got tons of podcasts, video reviews, special videos, and a whole lot more. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.
Ladies and gentlemen,